Welcome to Picks and Bones. I'm your host, Eric. I'm a proud member of the Civilized Creatures Entertainment Network. We're a network of independent podcasters, and we have great shows all around, whether you like true crime, relationships, you just want a good laugh, you need a good laugh. And this week's Creature Feature is our flagship podcast with the awesome Randall and Brooke Fowler, Married AF. You guys go check them out. They for relationship advice, general advice, and listen to Uncle Randy. Uncle Randy drops you truth all the time. Also wanted to give a shout out to our sponsor, BioBidet, putting the green and clean, folks. So go on and visit the website, BioBidet. Buy yourself one. They're affordable for everyone. There's no reason why you shouldn't. And you're doing something great for the environment when you do that. And when you do, use the discount code BONES at checkout and save yourself 10%. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Ticko. I'm your host, Eric. Tonight we are sitting down with Anderson, South Carolina singer-songwriter Ticko. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm more than happy to have you on. Go ahead and kind of tell people about you and your music and all that good stuff, so they kind of get an idea of who you are as we're jumping into this, and we'll unfold a lot more facts.
All right. Well, I am a folk Americana singer-songwriter. A lot of my originals are me on guitar and piano, and I play out at live shows, and I do country, blues, indie, and some popular classic rock covers too. So I like all music, but personally my originals are acoustic and folk Americana type.
I got it. I like it too. When you are, because I know you're talking about some of your originals, kind of what's your process when you're writing?
Well, I do it kind of backwards. That's what I've been told. I usually write the music first, and then I write the lyrics after. I usually just fiddle on the guitar or the piano. Something comes to me, and then I feel out the vibe. And then I decide, is it going to be a sad song or an angry song or a happy song? And I write the lyrics after the music. I just feel like it works better for me.
Okay. Hey, everybody has their own way, and nobody's way is can say, hey, this is the only way you can do it. Because
Right.
I've had people say, hey, I get the music first, or I get the lyrics first. I was, when we were talking before, we started recording, I had done an interview last night, and he's a hip hop artist, and he says he actually sees the words on the page when he's writing. Wow. He said, I actually see the words coming to life, and I just have to, and all I'm doing is just filling in the blanks. And I'm like, wow, that's that's not an easy thing to have happen by any means.
I wish I could do it that way.
I think there's a lot of people that wish they could do it that way for sure. So, with you being kind of folksy and Americana and everything, Who were some of your influences when you were growing up?
Definitely Janis Joplin,
Okay.
Billy Joel. I grew up on those two artists. My mom really didn't play much else beside the Eagles, Janis Joplin, and Billy Joel. So that's what I enjoyed growing up. And I kind of mix that into what I do now, even though it doesn't show. I try to take, even if it's lyrical inspiration, I try to take some type of inspiration from those artists. And vocally, Brandy Carlisle,
Yeah,
for sure.
she's awesome.
Yeah, I love
Okay.
her voice.
That's some good. That's actually a well-rounded group of people there. You know, you're actually the first person that's actually dropped Billy Joel as one of their influences. So kudos for that one because
Thank you.
the man wrote some phenomenal songs, and his piano playing is awesome.
Yeah, Piano Man was the first song I learned on a little $5 Barbie guitar piano.
That's awesome. My daughter would be jealous. So, what is your music background? How did you come up, getting introduced? Because I know you said your mom just listened to like the Eagles and Billy Joel and stuff like that. What was your introduction into music? What gave you the bug?
Well, I'll tell you, it's a true story that made me want to start singing. And I feel like everything in music has been kind of inspired by something kind of crappy happening in my life. And the first thing that inspired me to start singing, I was in 6th grade and I had a crush on this guy so hard. And he sat beside me in chorus. And I auditioned for a solo. And he looked at me and he said, "You sound like a sheep." And
How
I went home and I
mean?
said, because I was so nervous, my voice was shaking. And of course, it was like a Les Mis solo. I wanted to impress him. So he told me I sound like a sheep. And then a year or so after that is when I started singing in front of people for the first time, doing karaoke or singing at school. And after I realized people said I had a unique voice, they didn't always say it was good or on pitch. They just said that I sounded like a 30-year-old in a 13-year-old's body. So I kind of built off of that, built that uniqueness in my voice, and then eventually worked on perfecting the pitch and the runs and all of that. And I learned piano when I was 9. I started teaching myself. I took 3 years of lessons. Then I became the school's accompanist
Oh
in middle
wow!
school. Yeah,
As being a
it was
self-taught pianist.
yeah, I took a couple years of lessons, like I said, and it was just kind of to learn how to get my fingers on the piano properly because I knew all the notes.
Yeah.
And then after I got into middle school and high school, the teachers wanted me to accompany the choir and do like the warm ups in class. And then when I was 15, I picked up a guitar and I taught myself.
I
And
taught
that's it.
myself too. My son taught himself. So, I think that's a lot of times that's the best way to learn because you try harder
Yeah.
and you don't accept any kind of failures that way. And since you brought up Les Mis, what Les Mis song was it?
Castle on a Cloud.
Okay. Yeah, that's one of our
Yep.
favorites. We actually saw the musical last year, something like that, and it was phenomenal. So when when you're out playing and everything, because I know you kind of play a little bit all over around the area and everything. When
I
you're out
do.
there playing, what do you want? What do you want the audience takeaway to be?
I want them to say, "Wow, she was different." I want them to think that I brought something more to the table than a lot of other people bring. Because in the area around here, I love the local artists around here, local musicians. I'm friends with Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson down at the coast and down into Georgia. But I feel like sometimes it's all the same thing. And I want them to see that I tried harmonica and piano and guitar and originals and went all the way from singing the blues to singing Broadway songs. I sing a song from Porgy and Bess. I want them to just say she was different.
Yeah, that's awesome though. You're the first person that has ever brought up that they actually do a cover of a Porgy and Bess song. And for somebody as young as you are to actually have an appreciation for that kind of music, that's pretty awesome. That kind of shows, your character and caliber, if you will.
Right.
Wow, I'm still kind of blown away by your answers on that one. So when you do covers, how do you make them yours?
I put my own emotion into it. Sometimes a song can mean something completely different than the way that I perceive it and the way that I display that when I perform. So a lot of times, this might sound weird, but before a show, I listen to like the saddest music possible to get myself emotionally vulnerable, so that when I am singing that song, even if I sing like Beyonce, If I Were a Boy, and I sing that like my man just cheated on me, and he didn't. I love him to death. He would never do that, but I sing it like that just happened to me.
Okay.
I try to put emotion that I take from the song into it, which is different than
Yeah, because I mean, you're totally getting into that mindset and everything,
Yes.
which, and I know everybody has a different, and that's a question that I used to ask people is what's your kind of your pre-show rituals, if you will.
Yeah.
And, some like, I get over in the corner, I shadow box, I get myself all pumped up, I'm going to get out there and I'm just going to, tear the world a new one. And then, I would be more like you. I'm going to go listen to a bunch of really sad stuff. Where when I get up there, I'm just going to, if you're not crying or bleeding when I leave, something's wrong. So, which is, that's a, unique way to put it, I guess. So, I know you said you brought up piano and guitar. What else do you play?
Well, I used to play banjo. I haven't really picked it up in a couple years. I play harmonica. I can still play ukulele, and I think that's it.
Well, that's enough.
Yeah.
And I know, we were kind of talking before we started recording. You're working on a new project.
Yes.
Why don't you want to tell everybody a little bit about that?
I definitely
at least
will.
what you can tell so far.
Yeah. Yes. No secrets. Well, this new album is called 180, and that's supposed to represent that the complete 180 that my life has taken since the last album came out. Anyone that knows me really personally knows all the things that have happened. I graduated college. I got into a way better relationship. I've gotten more friends and family and support from a year ago when Cry Me a River came out. I still haven't decided how many tracks are going to be on this one because I'm still writing. And this is self-produced like the last one. So all these projects, they take me a little bit because I'm not a professional audio producer, but I try. And this is going to be more one genre than the last one. Cry Me a River was kind of experimental in the way that I wanted to see what response I got from the different genres. I put a little bit of rock. I put some blues, kind of jazzy, and I wanted to see what people liked the most. And I folk and, maybe a little bit of rock. So that's what's going to be on this one.
Okay. Hey, and now was Box of Matches on your last one, or is that going on this one?
Box of Matches was on my first one. That was Young Mind, Old Soul. And that was when I recorded that when I was 15.
Wow. That's and that's an original. That's wow. That's a great song, and just the content of that and everything was, I see where, Old Soul, because, only an old soul would be able to kind of reach those depths at that age. I should have done a little more research. I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. I wish more kids your age would get into things like this. And, well, not a kid, you know what I mean? Young people would find something like this as a positive outlet. Yeah. And that, to tap into that potential younger, where that opens them up to be able to do so much more with it. Because instead of, like all these old guys like myself that, we started out early, but nobody got, you either get really serious with it or you let life happen. And, and me, life happened. So now I podcast and I get to talk to all these artists that are up and coming and that are doing things like that. But, like I said, I'm really impressed with, you know, a young person being able to have that depth of understanding of one, the music, and basically how to tweak somebody's, you know, soul with their songs. And their lyrics.
Well, thank you.
So, yeah. So, where are some of your favorite venues to play?
That is an interesting question, but I have the answers. Well, right now, you know, I've just played the Upstate, one venue at the coast, and some in Georgia, and not really much in North Carolina. But of all those, I would say my favorite right now is the Fox's Lair. It's in Augusta, Georgia. It's attached to the Old Town Inn. I'm actually going to be there this coming weekend, and they give me a place to stay because I'm not from around there, but they get one of the most attentive crowds I've ever seen. And, you know, they pay $5 cover to get in, so I'd assume they want to be there for music. But that place, the first time I went there, I had at least 30 to 40, for the size of this place, 30 to 40 people is really good.
Okay.
And they just were all singing along, all completely silent when I talked. And that never happens. I mean, you know, like to get the crowd compete, you have to fight with them and get completely silent. And they were listening and answering and singing along. It was incredible. So that's definitely one of my top favorite venues. I always love Carolina Barnhouse in downtown Anderson. That was one of my favorite places to do open mic. And once I finally got, you know, 16 and 17, they're like, yes, you can do a show here, because I've been doing open mic there since I was just turned 15. And trying to think of my other favorite venues. I don't want any of them to feel left out.
Yeah.
I mean, I love all of them. Any place that wants to have me is a place that I'd love to be at. So, but those two are probably just my top because I have such a connection with those crowds.
Fair enough. So, have you played in a band, or have you always just been more the solo act?
So I did have a duet for a little bit, and I also, when I do big events like Radio Room this coming October, I'll have a band behind me. But I had a duet for about 6 months, and it just didn't work out.
I understand. I mean, some people are solo acts, and some you can jump in there with others. When I'm trying to think how to phrase this one. When you're, you know, when you are writing your originals, like for your new one, and I know you're talking about you don't know if it's going to be an EP or a full one, where do you look for your inspiration? Well,
usually I will go on Discover on Spotify, or I'll go on YouTube and I'll listen to some artists, and I will get hooked on an artist and I will listen to their music over and over and over, and I will kind of drag inspiration from that into one song. Like one of the songs I've recently wrote, I haven't really finished it yet, but I was on a binge of Jason Isbell and the Abbott Brothers. So, I just kind of took inspiration from that, even for chord progressions. Just listen to how they're doing it and what they're doing, and I'll kind of base it off of that. I mean, I don't want to get copyrighted or anything, but just try to do it that way.
Well, I mean, going after the Avett Brothers and Jason Isbell is kind of setting a high bar anyway, which, all are phenomenal musicians.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, we can jump in. Let's jump into some bare bones. Let's see what kind of, answers you might give.
Oh, goodness.
So what would be your death row meal?
Sushi.
Sushi, okay. That's
a Philly roll, yes.
All right. Buffalo wings, drums or flats, dry rub or sauced?
Flats. Soft.
Okay.
Yep.
Song or band that you're stuck on right now?
Still Jason Isbell, and there was a band I was just listening to. Well, I'm always stuck on Mumford & Sons. They're my favorite band of all time.
Another great one.
Thank you.
What's your all-time favorite book?
The Lovely Bones.
Very interesting. Well, what was the first CD you ever bought, or album, or anything?
I can't remember the first one I ever bought, but I can remember the first one that was given to me. Okay. I still have it somewhere over here. It was some artist. I was in Connecticut with my mom, and I can't remember what his name was, but he gave me a CD, and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Oh, what's his name? It's something like three-legged dog or something. I don't know.
And how can you not forget that one?
I know.
All right, we'll move on. What was the first concert you ever went to?
I saw Trans-Siberian Orchestra in like 2012.
Okay. Star Wars or Star Trek? Star
Wars. Good I am answer. A huge Star Wars fan.
Good answer. As am I. I don't know if you can. You can't see to the right of me. I've got the Empire Strikes Back poster,
yes.
The Vader tattoos. So yeah,
that's
Star Wars is always a win for me. Do you have a personal mantra or kind of a life philosophy that you always remind yourself or others of?
Wow. I don't have like a really pretty sentence for it, but I guess the thing that I tell myself all the time when I'm struggling is that know my worth and know that whatever I have to bring to the table is different than the next person. That's what's helped me get through school and everything. I don't know why.
That's a good one.
Kind of out.
Okay, one song. Doesn't matter how many times you hear it or you've heard it. The volume always goes up, and if you're driving, typically, your foot goes a little heavier on that pedal.
Africa by Toto.
Yeah, you were the first one to bring that one up.
And I love it.
You were the first person to use that song as a reference, and I salute you for it. Definitely. Africa, man. Yeah. Oh my gosh. A person living or dead that you wish you could take the stage with one time.
Freddie Mercury.
That's another good one. Well, besides yourself, who would you recommend people to start listening to and checking out?
Wow. Cool. That's such a hard question because I love all my local music friends. I mean, I love them all. One of my favorites in the area, he actually just moved to Arizona, but Tyler Monroe, he's here from Anderson. And good Lord, Darby Wilcox, amazing. I love her. Look up to her. I'm actually doing a show with her in Wake Forest in November. Super excited.
That's awesome.
And I know, I'm so excited. And everyone in this area. That's what I was saying. I love them all. They're such great people and artists.
Well, it doesn't have to be just local, too. It could be,
Well, I love listening Anyone?
Yeah.
Mumford and Sons.
Okay.
Mumford and Sons. But seriously, I do admire and listen to local people's music because I take inspiration from them too.
Well, and I know this isn't a part of that. Have you had any kind of challenges being a female trying to get into music in this area?
That's actually something I talk about a lot, just with my family and friends. But I feel like it's not a matter of me being female so much as, because I don't want to seem like I'm oppressed by being a female. I'm not. But being young is. Being 19 and having to tell people that I want to sing in a bar and I'm not old enough to drink your beer, it just turns them away. But they don't realize my friends are old enough to drink, and
Yeah.
I have some. It doesn't matter how old I am. I still do music the same as anyone older than me. I still play guitar and sing and do it.
Yeah, and and I know I've been around, the scene for a lot of years. I've seen that in several people where, bar owners are not going to take the chance and book
Right.
that person because, they're not 21. And then the ones that actually do take the chance and bring them in, people are spending money like crazy because they draw a crowd. And that's why, I was asking because my friend Leanne Long, she and I sat down and with she's the headliner for the Anna Lee Band. She's the Anna Lee Band. And we were talking about that when we did an interview when we were down at the beach last week, and how it is kind of challenging for women in the upstate trying to get around because there's so many venues and people that still have that old mindset. Oh, I don't like women singers, or they're being sexist. And, they have their, caveman mindsets about things. And, with you being younger, I mean, I didn't know if you caught it twice as hard as, some of these other folks might.
Well, it definitely, I mean, the only thing about being a female that I've noticed is I feel like they don't think we can't bring that amount of power to the stage. We just can't move a crowd in the same way. And in a way, just me personally being a woman, I like to sing emotional music. So in a way, they're kind of right, because I'm not going to sit up there and rock you, even though I sing Janis Joplin and all that. I am more based off of an emotional crowd that's willing to be attentive for that kind. There's the emotion in the song, and if people just want to be rocked, then it probably isn't me.
Yeah.
But being a woman, I feel like I don't. This is gonna sound weird, but I don't come across necessarily that feminine. So I don't feel like I've ever had a problem being a woman. I got tattoos, and I'll talk with the dudes like I'm one of them, but I'm a woman. I've always felt like it's my age and the fact that my music is more emotional, because I have been told some pretty awful things from a venue before about me being too emotional with my music.
And see, and I completely disagree with them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have an artist that can actually, elicit emotion, then you've got somebody. Because, books and music should always move you to feel a certain way when you hear it or you read it. You should be able to get angry with it. You should be able to feel like your heart's getting torn out in little bitty pieces and then set on fire. Or you should be able to just let go of everything and rock out.
That's right.
But, you can't, not everybody is everything in that one little box. And you can't put everybody into one little box. And there's a definite place for people that do emotional music. And, I can appreciate that. And, thanks for being brave enough to do that and not selling yourself out to make other people happy. Some good integrity there. You want to give some shout outs to anybody while we're talking?
Heck yeah, sure. I'll give some shout outs. Well, let me give a shout out to my mom. She's my biggest fan. Shout out to all my friends, family, and fans. I guess I've made a lot of new ones recently with some events. I'll say Gritty Fly Rate. They're a band I opened for this past weekend. They were amazing, so thank you to them. And they're from the coast. And shout out to, I say Rainers, but I've heard it's Reiners Cafe in downtown Greenville. I'm going to be there this Friday and Fox's Lair on Saturday.
Oh, busy schedule.
Yes.
This actually will be coming out October. So we will pass these.
Oh, well, then I'll shout out for October because October is my busiest month. I'll be at Radio Room. I'll be going to a lot of places. I just forgot everything.
You got to love just going blank.
I have like 5 days in a row in October that I have something, which is craziness. My album release will be at Carolina Barnhouse Ales on November 1st, though.
Okay.
That's pretty important.
And
pre-release is at Radio Room October 24th, and album release will be November 1st at Carolina Barnhouse, downtown Anderson.
Awesome. I look forward to hearing the new album, and maybe when it drops, maybe we can get you on here and we'll just do a little quick live or something, and we'll talk about it. No, I appreciate you coming on. I respect your music, and I love where you're going with it.
Thank
you. I can't encourage you enough to keep going with it because you're headed in the right direction, and you've definitely got the talent to back it up.
Thank you.
But if we're done with shout outs and all that good stuff, folks, I want to thank you all for tuning in, for listening, letting us kind of come into your world for a little while and tell you about, Ticko's world, tell you about the Picks and Bones world, some local music. Go out, support local music, support local musicians, and local means your region as well, if you don't realize that, folks. So with that being said, thank you, keep listening, and we will catch you next week.